Welcome to the 11th Annual State of the Port of Oakland. My name is Laura Germany. I'm Vice President of Pacific Merchant Shipping Association and President of Women in Logistics. Happy Black History Month. I don't think you guys heard me. Happy Black History Month. Let's go. Thank you all for coming here today to support two wonderful causes. The Oakland Seafarers Center, which provides support for seafarers while they're in port. We have Robert Wilkins, their director, Seafarers Ministry. And the Women in Logistics Scholarship Fund, which to date has given over $125,000 to students pursuing careers in logistics and supply chain management. We couldn't have done this without all of your support. But first, I'd like to thank and recognize some of our elected representatives and their offices. We have representatives from the office of Senator Alex Padilla, office of Congresswoman Latifah Simon. We want to recognize her. We have someone from U.S. Maritime Administration, office of Assemblymember Mia Bonta, someone from the office of Alameda County Supervisor Lena Tam, office of Alameda County Supervisor Elisa Marquez. You heard? We have Oakland Council Member and Council President Kevin Jacobs. We like to recognize Oakland Council Member staffer from Janani Ramakandran's office. And we have some to recognize, excuse me, there's still a lot of talking here. Can we get going here? Thank you. Thank you, Councilmember Ken Houston here. We have Oakland Councilmember Rowena Brown. Oakland Councilmember Carol Fife. Oakland Councilmember Zach Unger. Oakland Councilmember Charlene Wang. We also have Oakland City Administrator Justin Johnson. And we also have Oakland City Councilmember Noel Gayo. And I'd also like to thank and recognize the Port of Oakland Board of Harbor Commissioners. We have Commission President Andreas Kluwer. We have First Vice President Jamis Myers. Is she here? Yep. We have Second Vice President Barbara Leslie. We have Commissioner Stephanie Dominguez Walton. We have Commissioner Derek Mohammed. So we'd like to thank all the commissioners for attending. And I also like to thank all of the sponsors of today's event who made this possible and to raise money for these two charities. We have our gold sponsors, SSA Terminals. We have Matson Logistics, FlexiVan, the San Francisco Bar Pilots, Ocean Network Express, PCC Logistics, Harbor Trucking Association, Pacific Maritime Association, the Pacific Companies, and HNTB Corporation. Thank you all, and I'd like to thank their silver sponsors. We have Everport, TrayPack, Food Links, Norton Lilly, Cost Reed Group, Track Intermodal, Scan Global Logistics, and Divine Intermodal. Thank you for your continued support of this event and supporting these two programs. Now I'd like to introduce our next speaker, PMSA President Michael Jacob.
Thank you, Laura, and welcome to another amazing State of the Port. We really appreciate all the sponsorship and the partnership in putting this together, and it's a very, very Oakland day. So we'd like to all say, I think our thanks for people for expressing themselves, addressing themselves to issues of the day, and making sure they're exercising their First Amendment rights in a way which is respectful and appreciative of the fact that we all know what to expect when we come to an event in Oakland. People with opinions, people expressing them, and I expect nothing less from those folks, but also expect nothing less from everyone here for being really respectful of those opinions as well. So thank you. Really appreciate that. And it's our honor to not only welcome the council members and commissioners and other elected officials that Laura just introduced, but also thank the support of the Office of the Mayor, Barbara Lee. The mayor wasn't able to make it in time for the presentation today, but obviously the mayor has been a really amazing supporter of the port throughout her entire career, starting in the State Assembly, the State Senate, where I met her about 30 years ago and worked very closely on issues during her time in Congress, supporting projects as varied as security, grant making, zero emissions equipment grants, but also helping us support funding for what we have to do right now to expand our turning basin and really grow the competitiveness of this gateway. We really appreciate the mayor for her ongoing support of the port and our community. And I'd like to introduce Mr. Viz Iyer, who's the Director of Community Engagement for the Office of the Mayor, to say a few words on her behalf. Thank you.
Thank you and good afternoon, everyone. My name is Viz Iyer, Director of Strategic Partnerships for Mayor Barbara Lee's office. The mayor was unfortunately unable to free herself today from meetings, so I'll be speaking on her behalf. She wanted me to start by saying how appreciative she is to everyone in this room for your hard work on making Oakland better for everyone. As she says, it's because of all of you that Oakland is on the move. To Executive Director Christy McKenney and Board President Andreas Kluver, thank you for your outstanding leadership. To the entire Port Commission, you've been incredible partners in our shared mission. To Congresswoman Latifah Simon and Eden Chan, her District Director representing her office today, your partnership means everything to Oakland. And to PMSA, Women in Logistics, and all the business leaders, labor partners, and port workers here today, this is your success story we're celebrating. Here's the reality. We're California's gateway to the world. Look at what's within an hour of this port. Silicon Valley's tech giants, biotech and life science clusters driving the next generation of medical breakthroughs, advanced manufacturing and clean energy companies building our sustainable future. The world's single largest concentration of venture capital. The Port of Oakland provides direct logistics infrastructure for the world's innovation capital. As the nation's #1 port for refrigerated cargo exports, we move California's bounty to the world. Every grape, every almond, every innovation that leaves these docks carries Oakland's stamp. And so let's talk about what that means for our people. 98,000 middle-class jobs. Good paying jobs that put food on tables, send kids to college, and build generational wealth right here in Oakland. And let's be clear, these jobs exist because of union labor, because of dock workers, truck drivers, warehouse workers, and logistics professionals who keep this port moving every single day. The Port of Oakland works because working people make it work. Just last December, Mayor Lee brought together leaders from China and Oakland for the Port of Opportunity China Business Exchange. The message was clear and is clear. Oakland is open for business. The mayor is deepening relationships and strengthening partnerships around the world. Economic power and environmental responsibility. We're delivering both. That $322 million Clean Ports grant the mayor fought for in Congress, that's Oakland, leading the nation in becoming a green economy. Today, 86% of the Port of Oakland's power comes from renewable resources, making us one of the cleanest, greenest ports in the nation. We move cargo and protect our planet. Right here in Jack London Square, where Mayor Lee held her inauguration ceremony, Dave & Buster's opens this year. Thanks to Senator Aragine's SB 304, which Mayor Lee proudly supported, we're bringing more retail, more attractions, more life to the waterfront. And when you fly into Oak, and you're about to see a lot more people do exactly that with the Super Bowl and with the FIFA World Cup coming, you're gonna taste Oakland, District, Southie, East Bay Trails, Oakland Supply Company. Our homegrown businesses are the first face travelers see when they come to Oakland. That's the Oakland brand going global. 2026 is about building what we deserve, a port that powers the region, a waterfront that welcomes the world, an Oakland that rises, all of us together. Again, on behalf of Mayor Lee, thank all of you.
Thank you, Viz, and thank you for the message from the mayor. We really appreciate it. I also wanted to say, before we started with the program and introducing the executive director, just how much work goes into these events from the team at PMSA and from Women in Logistics, led by Laura Germany. Really, thank you very much, Laura, and for your entire volunteer team. Thank you. And again, thank you to all the sponsors. I know she listed you all by name, but this has been our biggest event that we've had. We didn't think we could cram even more people into this pavilion after last year, but we found a way to do it. And so we thank you for being part of the sponsors that make this event work. And all the proceeds from this event, again, go to Women in Logistics scholarships and also to the Seafarers Center. Thank you, Robert, for joining us again from the Seafarers Center. We appreciate all the hard work that you do. And it's really my honor to welcome our main speaker, our executive director, Christy McKinney, to the stage. Christy was named executive director only last year, and it's been a very, very busy year. I'm sure it seems like a lot longer than it's been, given the amount of turmoil in the industry and the number of different issues that you've had to deal with. But I understand that while being in this position with this title has been only a short amount of time, Christy's been with us for a very long time. She knows the port in and out, and obviously served as the COO for a long time prior to stepping into this position. So she's probably the most well-prepared executive director we've ever had at the port. We really thank you. So without further ado, Christy, please. Thank you.
All right. Well, the mayor said a lot of what I was going to say, but that's okay. We'll say it again. So good afternoon, everyone. Very, very happy to be here with you today, especially because what we're really here for is to raise money for these scholarships. So thank you very much for having me and for doing all that good work. And I would also like to acknowledge Mike's remarks about protesters. I'm grateful to live in a place where people can do that safely and without fear, and we welcome that. I just also wanted to let you know that we are engaged in conversation with some of the leaders of these organizations and looking for ways to find common ground. There are, as most of the people in this room know, a lot of constraints on organizations and what we can and can't do. As long as you're shipping cargo legally, we really can't stop you. So it's a big challenge. So I just want to honor and respect them. Thank you. With that, I also hope you got to see our video. The whole point of that video is to acknowledge those thousands and thousands of people who work here on port property. And as Viz mentioned, the 100,000 jobs that are generated regionally. It's really those people that drive the port and all of our businesses. And it's why we're really all here today. And it's why I show up every day. So please take a look at it if you hadn't seen it previously. And it's really an honor to showcase all of the good workers that we have across the port. And last year, I did stand before you as the newly appointed executive director, and I spoke about new partnerships and dynamic partnerships, and that was going to be the key to our success. And of course, with the mayor coming in shortly thereafter, I couldn't be more grateful for the mayor's partnership. She has shown so much leadership in Oakland and been such a good partner to the port. We're very grateful to have her. And again, not the least of which is $322 million, federal dollars, she helped bring to Oakland for zero emissions. We are going to be the cleanest and greenest port in large thanks to our mayor on the West Coast. We're very proud to be able to do that work. And we also, again, I've already thanked PMSA. Thank you so much for having us and for putting this on. Let's start by focusing on maritime. We're going to kind of start up by the Bay Bridge and end up down by San Leandro. So you may have heard about some dramatic shifts in tariffs and things like that going on the last year. Mike's quite right. It's been a very dynamic year, and it's really required us to be very nimble and adapt. And that's really been the hallmark of this year with all the tremendous uncertainty in the economics and importing and exporting goods. But we are prepared for that. We're out there, we're talking to people, we're making sure we have all the information, we're making sure we're adjusting or adapting, and we're building new partnerships with people who do have influence on people who are making these decisions and who matter and who are bringing economic activity here and can influence. So we have to build those networks. And of course, we had some ups and we had some downs in our volume at the seaport this year. And frankly, people thought we were mostly going to be down, but I'm grateful to say that we held steady. So that's really the accomplishment for this year, was holding steady. And that's really due to our strategic efforts to capitalize on the fact that we are a balanced port, import and export, and really lean into our exports and our prowess as an export port. And what we really want to do, of course, is we're grateful to be steady in 25, but we want to grow in 26. So that's what 26 is going to be about for us. So how are we going to do that? Critical to our success, of course, is all of you. We're here, we're the infrastructure, we're here to support, but you all run the businesses. And we have 3 primary terminal operators, and right now my number 1 priority is working in partnership with those terminal operators to get 3 new long-term leases in Oakland. So that's going to be the focus. That's been the focus for part of 25, and it's going to be the focus for 26. And as this year comes to a close, we're going to have new leases with these terminal operators that bring massive investments to Oakland. And we already have investments coming to Oakland. Pretty soon you're going to start to see 2 new 440-foot cranes raise above Trapac's terminals. I'm very excited to see that. And these are the first European-built cranes on the West Coast. So I'm really excited for that investment. A few months from now, 2 more are going to be coming and will be erected. And shortly after that, sometime in the coming year, we'll be able to also welcome SSA new cranes. And that comes on top of cranes that they brought in a few years ago. So these companies are making major, massive investments in Oakland, and with the long-term agreements that we're going to be building with them, that will bring hundreds of millions of more dollars into Oakland. So we thank you for your partnership. And really, between the port's own investments and our tenants' investments across the port, these are some of the biggest investments in Oakland currently happening. And speaking of big investments, what else do we need to be doing is we need to be making sure we accommodate the larger vessels that are coming. Vessels are getting bigger, and we need to be able to operate them here at Oakland if we're going to be successful. And this is where the Turning Basins project comes in. You may have heard about that. And gratefully, we have just secured $8 million in the federal appropriations. This was a big hill to climb right now, by the way, but we did it and we got it, and that's going to keep design going on this important project. And this is going to make sure those ships are able to turn efficiently and safely in the inner and outer harbor here in Oakland. And I want to really thank the city of Alameda and the mayor in Alameda, because they were great partners in terms of working through all the details, because they will be impacted by this, and I know that we'll work through those details to satisfactorily, and I really appreciate their partnership. And then I want to talk a little bit about something that's very near and dear to my heart. I started at the Port of Oakland as an environmental planner. And so I am 1,000% committed to zero emissions, to making this port the cleanest and the greenest, to making sure that we don't have negative impacts on our communities. I'm an Oaklander too. And that goes for the airport and the seaport as well. But we have tremendous projects underway. We have a $475 million in capitalizing on that grant plus private investment to convert hundreds of pieces of terminal equipment and drayage trucks to zero emissions. And again, thank you to all of our partners who are playing a role in that. And not the least of which is our community. One of the best things about the programs that we've built over the last few years is we have brought the community in so close, and we are actually funding them to participate in these programs and engage more with their community and bring more people to the table and making sure we have co-benefits for them. Thank you. Yes. And by the way, you need a lot of power for zero emissions. And one of our other great attributes at the port is we're a very rare thing in that we are also a public utility for electricity. So, and we have invested heavily in our electrical utility division. We're staffing that. We welcomed our new director last year, Andre. We stole him from Alameda. So we are off to the races with being able to provide this power. Importantly, we have also worked with PG&E to make sure that we're going to be able to provide this power. And I'll talk a little bit about that because this actually is a huge benefit for Oakland. The port paid for and funded PG&E studies over the last several years to find out how to bring more power to the West Oakland pocket and the East Oakland pocket. So this is not just for the port. This is more power for all of Oakland, for the Coliseum area development, for example. And those projects were just approved in May of 2025 by the state, and so now we're off to the races. It'll take a number of years to build them, but that's more power for all of Oakland, not just the port. Thank you. Okay, now I want to come a little bit closer to Jacqueline and Square. Let's talk about Howard Terminal. So Howard Terminal was last an over-the-dock container terminal in 2013. It has served a number of important purposes for the port and port operations in the ensuing years, but really has not been fully utilized given its 50 acres of property. So we did do an RFQ on that property recently, and I'm very pleased to say that we just recently announced that we intend to take an exploratory E&A to our board in the near future with Industrial Realty Group and the Roots combined proposal. And this is a beautiful marriage because what happens here is we get industrial over-the-dock cargo at Howard, as it was intended to be, and on the industrial side, and then you come as you approach Jacqueline and Square, and we can have a Jacqueline and Square activation, public activities, and engagement with the Roots. So we're very excited about this development. I committed when I came on board in this role, well, I've been committed my whole career, as Mike said, to work with the maritime industry, but I committed to work with them and make sure that we have something that works with the maritime facilities and strengthens and builds on maritime and doesn't harm maritime. And that's what we're going to be doing with this. And maritime partners will be with us every step of the way. Within, I think, 18 hours of that being made public, we met with multiple maritime stakeholders, and we will continue to do so throughout this process. Your needs need to be met, and your opinions matter. So thank you. I would also like to talk about moving into commercial real estate. You notice, yeah, I'm kind of working my way down. Okay, so now we're in Jacqueline and Square. Here we are, right? So, commercial real estate is very challenged right now. We all know that. It's not just challenged here, it's challenged throughout the region and in other communities across the country. And we know that commercial retail office has been very, very difficult to come back after COVID-19. So starting right here in Jacqueline and Square, what we really are focused on and what we've been building in the plan in 25 is we have to launch activation, right? We have to do things that engage the community, that bring the community here. The reality is it's going to be very hard to lease all these spaces. I'll be honest with you, all these spaces have never been leased. And this was built in 1988, this facility. So it's a tall order, but that's what we're going to do. We are going to be investing in events and activities. We did more events in 2025 than we did in 24, and we have more and bigger events planned for 26. But the reality is, to make these leases work, right, we really needed some rule changes. And a lot of you know about Tidelands Trust, but a lot of you don't. But the bottom line was our hands were really tied. And COVID-19 accelerated a lot of changes, right? The kinds of things that people want to do, that they want to come out, that they want to spend money on. The fact that 3,000 people moved in across the street and the neighborhood was created here. And we were unable to actually lease to businesses and the kinds of activities that people really wanted. So last year, working in Sacramento, our board, with our board's leadership, our mayor, the state delegation, SB 304 was passed. So what does this do for us? This unleashes potential for actual modernization of Jacqueline and Square, to release property to businesses and activities, health and wellness, and the kinds of things that people want to do when they come down here. It literally just went into effect last month. So give us a minute, give us a chance, but we've already got a list of folks that CIM is working with. Most of you know CIM actually owns most of the buildings here, and Jacqueline and Square is responsible for the leasing. But we are not, we are in full force. We are contacting people, we're bringing people here, and certainly looking at the properties that we do own as well for that. So we're very grateful for this. This will be transformative. 26 will be the planning year to get these things in place, and then we'll be able to actually, we'll do a lot of events as well this year, and then you'll start to hopefully see the fruits of all of that in the following year. We will see some good developments here in a few months with Dave & Buster's opening right down the street here. So that's a huge development, family venue, family entertainment, and that'll be a huge new addition and draw for Jacqueline and Square. So we're very pleased about that. And then later this fall, we're going to have Ream's Bakery come back, which is also a great sign. They were here before, they left, and now they're coming back. So we're very pleased to have them back. So we're starting to see those seeds, right? I'm watering them like crazy. Okay, what else in Jacqueline and Square is very important? The hotel. It was, hotels are failing right and left in this area generally, and unfortunately the Waterfront Hotel failed. I want to really thank our staff, and our legal team did an amazing thing when they called us and told us they were going to go bankrupt. We said, please work with us. The hotel, if it went into bankruptcy, it'd be sitting there a year or two in bankruptcy court, right? But instead, they handed the keys over to us. So we now own the hotel. We own the land that it was on, but we did not build the hotel. So now we own the hotel. We've already done the RFP, and we're already working with 3 potential operators, and we're in TLA, going into TLA so that they can get in there, get their hands dirty, and figure out exactly what it's going to cost and make firm proposals for our board to consider. It's one of the top priorities. That hotel is where the people who play at Yoshi stayed. It's where people, if they stay in that hotel, they're coming out down here to eat. So it's one of the most important things for us to accomplish this year. I want to move a little bit further down the estuary as you get to the Airport Business Park. You may or may not know. Some of that property is the port's, but it's all the port's jurisdiction in that area. So we are responsible for the land use there. Some very exciting things are happening there. We're starting to see more development. We're starting to see more properties turn over into new projects. And a couple of them are Watt EV, building a truck charging facility out there. That's going to be perfect for port trucks so that they can conveniently charge. charge electric trucks. So we're very excited about that going in. And then, of course, you're very familiar over on the corner of Hagenberger and Doolittle. The 1960s Hilton Hotel is almost gone. Another few weeks, it will be fully gone. And we will have a 21-acre parcel that we will RFP immediately and get development going in Oakland. And I want to be really honest, if you're a private property owner, you're not really out there trying to get people in and doing new leases. Right now it's like not a great time for you. Because you're giving people bargain basement rates, right? But that's not who we are. We're a public agency. We're here to serve the public, and it's our duty to put these properties into use, even though we know it's a challenging time, and we're not going to make as much money if we sat on it for a while and waited, right? But we're not going to do that. We're going to put them into activation. So next, right after that property, of course, is our airport, right? And yes, I do mean the Oakland San Francisco Bay Airport. So, we own about 11,000 acres of the bay, so we get to claim the bay. Importantly, about 8,000 people show up for work every day at the airport. It's a huge job generator, and they're good jobs, and they're career jobs. Some of these companies, when I go meet with senior leadership at airlines, those people started on the ground floor. They've been there 30 years, 35 years. These are the kind of companies that believe in promoting from within. So these are great jobs for folks, and we have a huge percentage of people from East Oakland working at the airport as well. So very local job generator. The reality is aviation suffered a lot. It's been really hard to come back from the pandemic. Some areas are doing well, but lots of areas are still struggling to get back to pre-COVID levels. In the San Francisco Bay Area is no exception. If you take the three airports collectively, we're all down, way down from our peak. Same thing in LA. If you take the four airports down there, they're also down. Some of this is the California corridor. That corridor is the #1 flown corridor in the world, and it hasn't fully come back. And it's very possible that it won't fully come back, of course, because of all the technological advances that we all experienced during COVID. So we just need to be eyes wide open on that. That definitely affects our frequencies and our routes. However, we need to adapt again. So I'm becoming, a transformer, maybe what I need to become, right? We're adapting again. And this is, again, another COVID acceleration, right? Trends were changing and what people wanted to do, what they wanted to spend money on, and that COVID really accelerated that. And what they really want is an elevated experience. So we're taking advantage of this time where we can go through the terminals and really create beautiful experiences for people, elevated experiences for people, and not the least of which, by the way, is our new food and beverage program and our new retail program. We've opened 14 new restaurants, 9 new retail stores, and we're leaning heavily into our East Bay roots, right? You've got great East Bay marquees and names there. Please come on out and check them out. And by the way, Oakland, #1 food city again in Condé Nast. So we're bringing that experience to Oakland. And we've also, some people laugh when I say this, but it's really important, we now have 5-star hotel level restrooms. And believe it or not, it's one of the #1 things customers talk about at airports. If you're in the airport industry, you know this. They are essential. So please check those out on your next trip. Or actually, you don't need to wait for your next trip. We are one of the first airports in the country to have the guest pass. The guest pass, what is it? It means you can come to Oakland Airport anytime you want. You don't have to have a ticket. You can come and meet and greet your folks who are coming back from a flight. You can come and take them and get them on a flight. And I want to tell you, in 6 weeks, 1,400 passes were downloaded for Oakland. So, yeah. So you can come to the district downtown, but you could also just come down to Oakland Airport and go to the district, right? And have your cocktail and a meal. And so we're really excited about that. And we want you to come see the offerings and come see the elevated experience. I will tell you that there are some big and important, oh, my oak socks, awesome. Thank you for wearing those. I've got them too. In 2026, we have some exciting announcements planned that I can't quite share with you yet, but it's all in this same vein, making Oakland proud, making Oakland elevated, and really welcoming guests and visitors and our own community. Yeah, so thank you. I want to also mention that Oakland is the largest air cargo airport in Northern California. And a lot of people don't really know that, although you may if you walked here today. But it's really, really important to Oakland because these are huge job generators. And they're also very important to help pay for the very expensive infrastructure at airports. They pay for half of the airfield, essentially, which allows us to have lower rates for our air carriers and attract more passenger airlines and routes. So we're very excited about their success at Oakland. And I'm excited to announce here today that UPS is working closely with us to develop a brand new modern air cargo facility at Oakland Airport. Yes. So that's going to be more activity and more jobs and more investment. Again, another major investment in Oakland with private dollars. So these things are what help create stability for us. The diversity is very helpful. When one side of the business is down, one is up. So we are definitely adapting and moving forward and doing all the things we need to do to poise ourselves to get more routes that I know all of us want. And if you ever want to know how to get anywhere in the world from Oakland, just ask me, because it might take you a stop or two. But I've been everywhere in the world out of Oakland. I can get you there, so just let me know. I also want to make sure that we acknowledge, I mentioned the community and the work we're doing with the community. I want to acknowledge our community partners as well. At the end of the day, we need our community's support to operate and grow. They have to be with us. They have to want this. So one of the things I'm most proud of in this latter part of my career here at the port is we are leaning so hard into community. It's one of the missions I've been on. I've done it personally when I was down at the airport, and now I get to do it across the whole port. And we are welcoming nonprofits, community organizations. Again, we are funding at the highest levels ever so that people can afford to participate. You know, this is taking time out of their day, right? So we need to make sure that we are helping them participate, getting their ideas. We're doing studies that don't stop at the port line. Our sea level rise and groundwater intrusion study is going across the port property because the water doesn't care where the port line is, right? So we're in the communities working with them. What are their needs? What are their issues? What are the co-benefits that we can create? And those partnerships have really been gems. It's really been wonderful. It's been great for my staff because they know so much more about the community in Oakland and what they need. And I hope the community members feel it's been great for them because they have a much more of a voice in what's actually happening at the port. And I will say, just from 3 programs we have going right now, we've put $20 million into community organizations and nonprofits so far. Thank you. Together, the port and our tenant partners, our operations, our facilities, our infrastructure, our development, and our construction, we are an infrastructure company, we do a lot of that, is investing hundreds of millions of dollars in the next 5 years in Oakland. It's some of the biggest investments that are being made in Oakland are being made by the people in this room and the businesses in this room. Thank you. And that's going to provide not just for our economy, but it's also sustainability. A lot of these projects are purely sustainability projects, and it involves the community, and it's going to create more jobs. So what's ahead? Next year, this year, again, I talked about growth. That's our focus we got our footing in some crazy times. Hopefully we are not going to have more of those. We'll see. We will manage. We're looking for growth. We're looking to secure that growth with our important business partners. But in 2027, The port has its centennial year. The port will be 100 years old. Yeah. So that's a big year. And we're going to have 100 different ways that we celebrate. You're all going to be involved and you're all going to be invited. And this year is the planning year. If you want to be involved in the planning, all of you are more than welcome to be involved in that. And I'm just incredibly proud and excited to be able to do that. My great-grandfather in 1910 lived in West Oakland and worked at the railroad. Before the port existed, he worked at the port. My father started working at the Oakland airport in 1949 out of the Navy. My sister started working there in the 70s as a flight attendant, and now I work here. So the port has sustained people. They've sustained my family for 100 years. So thank you very much. I appreciate your time and attention. I appreciate you being here. Thank you. Thank you. I know Laura solicited some questions, so I'm happy if you've got any. I don't know what you got, but I'm happy to answer any questions you got.
Just checking it's on. Okay, good. Some of you, when you registered, you submitted questions for Christy, and hopefully she addressed a lot of those questions in her comments today. We've boiled it down to 3 additional questions that she can go into more detail on. So the first question for you, Christy, is, as the Port of Oakland advances decarbonization and electrification, what criteria do you use to evaluate and prioritize pilot projects for new energy and equipment technologies, and how can technology providers best align with the port's operational and funding constraints?
Yeah, so this has been one of the most fun and exciting pieces of the last few years is getting to understand and know all of this new technology and figure out how it can work for us. But what I would say is we've come a long way just in the last few years, and it's really important that you're working with the tenants that know their business and their operations, because ultimately whatever technologies we're trying out or we're using have to work in the operations. So making sure you understand the maritime business, the aviation business, making sure you understand how those businesses work is actually more critical than your technology, so that you can then adapt your technology to make sure it'll be operationally useful. So we've been going through a lot of that work. I call it operationally drop-in. The more operationally drop-in your solution is, the more likely it'll get developed. So I think those are the really important things to be thinking about. And I'm always available to talk about new technology, especially when it's reducing emissions.
Great, thank you. Question 2 is, what are the plans to grow the port and move up in the rankings? Looking ahead to 2026, what are your primary expectations for cargo volumes, especially imports versus exports? And how might evolving U.S. trade policies or international supply chain adjustments influence the port's outlook?
Yeah, okay, well, I think I did touch on that in the talk. So again, it's securing those long-term leases, getting businesses comfortable with making these huge investments. That alone is going to bring growth, and then they can market those facilities, additional facilities to their customers, and we're there side by side with them to market as well. And we're also going to lean into our strengths. I mean, we are the nation's huge refrigerated export port, and we're leaning into that, and we're going to make sure that we are the premier, and we stay the premier export port for refrigerated cargo, and whatever our tenants need and whatever those customers need, we're there to supply that. So it's really leaning into, what are the pieces we can put in place, what are the building blocks we can put in place, and that's in partnership. Again, that's why partnership's my theme. We have to know what you need, and then we can help provide that.
Great. And finally, as someone who has witnessed and helped shape change in this industry, how have you seen the role of women in the industry evolve? Where do you see that trajectory heading, and how do you think increased female leadership impacts the industry and the Port of Oakland?
Great question. I'm old enough to have lived through some interesting times. When I first decided I wanted to try aviation, there was one CFO, I think, at Denver who was a woman. There were no other executives at airports when I was in school studying aviation. One of my jobs when I was in college, I was an aircraft mechanic assistant at NASA Ames down at Moffett Field. They had never had a woman work there. There was only a men's locker room, and they all had to leave so I could go put on my coveralls and go to work. And you can imagine what was in the break room. I won't elaborate. So I've seen a lot and persevered through a lot. And I'm extremely proud of how far the transportation and these kind of heavy industries have come. There is still quite a ways to go. I think maritime still has a ways to go. But we have definitely seen the curve sharpen and get steeper and grow faster. So that's exciting. I'm extremely proud to be the first woman executive director at the Port of Oakland. And I'm extremely proud to have more women executives at the Port of Oakland than we've ever had. There's 3 of them right there. And they're awesome and amazing. And it's critical. It's really critical. Diversity really matters. Diversity makes you stronger. You have better ideas. You've got different ideas. You have to have diversity of all shapes and sizes and forms in order to be the best agency and organization that you can be. So we just need to keep climbing that ladder and keep going. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Christy, for answering those questions. And I look forward to seeing more executive directors who are female leaders like you in the future. Thank you all again for coming here today. Again, we are supporting the Oakland International Maritime Center and Women in Logistics Scholarship Fund. So we appreciate everything, all the support these 11 years now. And when you guys head out after eating, take your time. We're not in a rush here. Eat and network. Please return your name tags to the front on the tables at registration so we can reuse, reuse, and recycle. So thank you again and have a lovely afternoon.